Viewers, welcome to Perspective on Independent Television. My name is Gabriel Zakari, and of course, it's a program that we see your angle. You tell us what you think about a particular issue, and then we address contemporary issues of the day. In 1979, Nigerian adopted a presidential system of government, you know, just like the American system. And that was when the former president, Shehu Shagari, the first presidential president, Shehu Shagari, came into power. And we have been operating that till date. And today we are going to be looking at the parliamentary system. How suitable is that? Is it better for us than what we have presently? And of course, we're going to look at the system of governance and politics in the country. You know, and some people have already started looking forward to the year 2027. Some people will say it's like 3 years away from now, you know, but politicians are already seeing it around the corner. All that we're going to discuss today on Perspective, and I have a political analyst with me, Orere Richard. You're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure.
What's your take on the presidential system of government as against the parliamentary?
Thank you, viewers. Just like you said, from 1960 that we got independence, we started with a kind of a parliamentary system where we have the head of government and the head of state.
Yes.
And along the line, the system changed, and we adopted democratic, this American style of government. And in democracy generally is a process. You don't get to the end of it just like that. You follow the process. There was a time in this country where women were not allowed to even come out to participate at all, especially in the northern part of the country. And there was a time as well in America where we borrowed this democracy from, where the have-nots were not allowed to even exercise their right politically. But time came where almost everybody participates in the system. And the same way in Nigeria, comparatively, if you check what has happened in America and what has happened in Nigeria, today we have female parliamentarians, we have female deputy governors. You go to Kaduna State, you have a female deputy governor. And if you look at the parliamentary system that our current legislators, they are trying to canvass, they are now canvassing for the system, the parliamentary system again, now in the country. You see, that is to say, democracy every time is a process. If you try this and it's not working for you, you can try the other aspect of it. Now,
okay, but from your perspective, we know democracy, it's an evolving, you know, issue. From your perspective, do you think we are comfortable with the presidential system? And if you think so, why?
Presidential system that we are operating today, the American style of democracy that we are operating today,
yes,
you cannot take it. I can say both the American style and the British style, the parliamentary that they are agitating now for, they are almost the same. Because if you go to India, India practices a parliamentary system, and is thriving in India because the citizens in India, what they look at first is the national interest. They look at national interest, and as they are looking at national interest, parliamentary system is thriving in India. Almost all over the world today, you see that India practices more practical democracy than almost every part of the world today. Nigeria want to borrow from India, possibly. Maybe the legislator who is coming out with this bill now must have read something concerning India, must have see that India is surviving, and India, they are doing very well. Okay, why can't we go back again to parliamentary system? But is the system that we have today in Nigeria, do we have citizens that will put the interests of the country ahead of their personal interests like Indians do. We don't. Presently, we don't. If we are abandoning the American style of democracy, now going to the British style of democracy, do we have the citizens like the British have, like the Indians have, that put the interests of the country above self? We don't. I can see that we don't have.
Yeah, but a lot of people argue that, you know, from independence, 1960, like you said, comparatively, we had a system that was parliamentary. You know, before we now chose this American style of government. Yes, when you want to compare before that time, you know, and when we started operating the presidential system, comparatively, did we fare better?
When we were practicing the parliamentary system, I can say we fare better because we have a nationalist then who places the interests of the country above self. But today we don't have nationalists who place the interests of the country above self. That is where we are getting everything wrong. If we have nationalists who place the interests of the country above their self-interest, there is no how. The constitution we have today, I can say our Nigerian constitution is one of the best constitutions all over the world.
Okay.
But are we implementing? Parliamentary system is a public policy. It's a public policy that they are coming up with. Policy formulation is nothing difficult to us in the country. But policy implementation is the problem. If we are to adopt this parliamentary system today, do we have citizens that will objectively implement this parliamentary system in a way and manner that the dignity of life of Nigerian citizens will be put first above their personal interests?
So it boils down to the issue of governance.
Governance, yes.
And implementation of these policies. So whether it's parliamentary or presidential, you know, how we go about it, for you, it's the most important.
The most important thing.
Yes, but the way we run the government now, some people say the presidential system is expensive, you know, compared to the parliamentary system. And, you know, whether you talk of the bicameral or unicameral system, you know, they say that the parliamentary system is still the best that Nigerian can afford right now.
Like I said earlier, we are partially operating parliamentary in Nigeria.
Why do you say that?
Why I say so is this. If you go to India, the parliamentary system, the lower house, they operate hand in hand with the executive.
Yes.
And presently in Nigeria, they will practice democratic system of government, the American style of democracy. The legislature, there is no separation, clear separation of power between the legislators and the executive. There's no clear separation. The only part where you will see, the only arm of the government that you see that there's a little bit separation of power between them is the judiciary.
Because
the judiciary
for
seems
the legislature, it's more like they rubber stamps everything that they
yes, the judiciary seems to be separated from the other two. But the legislature and the executive in Nigeria, they are fused together. And if you see, anytime the president wants to assent to any bill, making it law, you will see both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives going to a kind of show with the President. You see this one standing, you see this one standing, meaning they are one. And most of the bills that they are working on in the National Assembly in Nigeria today, they are bills sent to them from the executive.
Okay, be that as it may, let's look at governance. Where do you think there is a loophole?
Governance generally, governance is about solving societal problems.
Are we solving it?
We are not solving the problem. And the reason we are not solving the problem, there's any idea of government, any policy of government should be meant to solving problems. But we will come up with policies.
But democracy is a process. And you know, when you want to solve some issues, it could take time.
It will take time. But from 1999 to date, we have beautiful policies. Beautiful policies. Just like the previous administration of President Muhammad Buhari, you see they came up with one policy called trader money. Trader money, how was it implemented? It was meant for a selected few, and not the generality of Nigerians. And this present government now came up with another policy called
it was meant for generality. It was meant for Nigerians, you know.
For Nigerians, but
yes.
It was directed to a selected few.
By implementation?
By implementation. And during implementation process in the country, the head of government, who should be the president of the country, don't even seem to be having a control, total as in supervision. Because after policies is formulated, during implementation process, there should be a monitoring system. Monitoring system, and if we are meeting difficulties during the implementation, you take report back to the system that formulated the policy, and they will now know how. But in Nigeria, you will hear beautiful policies, but implementation has been the problem. That is why most of our policies, we don't get to the end of it. We don't get to the end of it. Most of our policies, we don't get to the end of it. And that's why you see, like this present government now, most of the policies they are coming up with now, after the 10 or elapse, maybe after the 8 years of this administration, if God approves.
We have 3.
If God approves.
Okay.
If God approves that he should come for second tenure, and he finishes his 8 years, the next person that will come as president of this country will come up with his or her policies, abandoning the previous ones. Because
so there's no continuity. Continue the process of the other person.
The continuity is not there because the policies in most cases seems not to be in line with societal problems, to be in line with societal issues. So most of the issues we are having.
But how do we solve these issues of governance?
Is political will. Political will. Do we have the will? It's political will. The other day, I saw one of the leaders of the current administration, one of the House of Representative member who is one of the leaders within the House of Representatives, a comment made concerning food shortages in Nigeria. And my comment on the platform was that Nigerians are tired of commentaries. What we want to see now is results. Nigerians are tired of beautiful statements. What we need is results. They are fond of telling us good things, beautiful things that they cannot go to the field and implement. They don't even have strategies or approach to solving these problems that they are telling us about. They will just come.
It is present administration is barely like
6 months or something like that.
Yes, let's say 7 months old.
Yes.
You know, and we are expected to be patient. You know, since it's a new administration, and then like you said, democracy of course is evolving. You know, and don't you think they might come up with a magic wand that can change the tide the way things are now?
By the grace of God, all I say, because just as I said earlier, it's all about political will. If we have good number of them who have the willpower to do it, I can do it and I will do it, then we will march forward in a better way. But if we don't have majority of them with the willpower to doing it, then we will be stagnated as well, like in the past.
All right, we'll be stagnated like in the past. We hope that is not going to be the case. I'm talking to Oriri Richard, a political analyst, and we are looking at the parliamentary system, whether it can solve our challenges. And he said we are okay with the presidential system the way it is. You know, it is just the issue of implementation. Talking about implementation, like you said, good policies, you know, and the president cannot be everywhere at the same time. He has food soldiers that he has appointed, you know, to oversee, you know, ministries and parastatals. And we know that the bulk falls on the table of the president, you know. And how would he ensure that some of these fine policies, like you said, you know, that is they are going to be implemented, these policies that you talk about. How does he do that? You talk about political willpower, yes, and he has said he is determined to see that, in fact, with the change mantra, hope,
renewed hope
agenda, so how does that come about?
As a citizen of this country and a very passionate one in that matter, my own advice to the president is that, yes, we see that he has the passion because he has seen it all in Nigeria. He has seen it all. If President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he doesn't know the problem of this country, then I see nobody else again that knows the problem of the country. And for the fact that we all know him to be like that, and he has the passion, he is occupying this position not to make wealth. He's occupying this position to make name. And for the fact that Nigerians are seeing that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to make name, to stamp his name, we want him to set up, despite he has selected good hands to him who will manage some of these ministries and agencies on his behalf, since he cannot be everywhere as the president. We still want him to set up monitoring team, presidential monitoring team, that will be monitoring policy implementation of almost all the ministries. Like, among all the ministers that he has appointed to oversee some ministries and other agencies on his behalf, the FCT minister so far, we are all seeing it. We are in Abuja here. Abuja is like our home now. He has hit the ground running. Everyone, any part of FCT that you go now, you see that the minister is on duty. He will live. He's even on the road every time, project site himself. Not that he said, as a minister, he's supposed to set up monitoring team that will be monitoring some of these projects that they are embarking on. But on his own, he has took it upon himself to be going around monitoring this project himself. So the same thing should be applicable to other ministries, because most of the ministers currently, why Nigerians are crying that we may still not have results like in the past, is because most of the ministers appointed by the current administration, they are sleeping. We are not seeing anything tangible coming from most of the ministries that will solve these problems. We have a ministry, agriculture. We have a water resources ministry too, that should face this issue of if it is irrigation. Right now we are in the dry season. It's irrigation. Are we having the downs? The several downs. Is it 6 or how many downs in all the 6 geopolitical zones? Are they functional that can be used for irrigation, farming? Those are things that we need to see working out. If you go to the north now, in fact, a lot, because we are having serious food shortage. Like yesterday, I watched on one platform where the present governor of Niger State was giving directive that people coming from outside the state to come and buy foodstuff from Niger, they should stop them forthwith, not to take foodstuff out of Niger State. They don't want to run short of food in Niger. If such directive is in place in Benue State now, Benue State, the food basket of the country, they produce yam enough and some other oranges. If Benue State governor come up with the same way now Niger State government have directed that no food items should be taken out of the state. If Benue State government do the same thing, if you go to Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, if they do the same thing, how will, especially the southeastern state, how will they feed? Now, almost every state now want to protect their own. They want to protect what they have, because we are having serious food shortage in the country. So, these ministers appointed by the president, they should start working for Nigerians to see that they are truly out to solve our problems. But we have not seen majority of them.
All right, we haven't seen majority of them doing that, but we are also talking about the system of governance.
Yes.
You understand? Whether it is expensive, or less expensive. You know, that is the
What
bottom
will
line.
change? If we are practicing parliamentary, if we are practicing democracy, there's nothing difference. If you go to parliamentary, they have a bicameral legislature too, lower and the upper house. The democratic system like America is still, we are still operating bicameral, where we have 360 House of Representative members and 109 senators.
Can the numbers be reduced?
So if you put everything together, 160, 360, then 109. Altogether, 469 parliamentarians.
Is that not huge?
It's huge. It's huge. But even if we go to parliamentary, it's still the same thing. Nothing will change. The only thing that we need to change is our mentality. We should imbibe the spirit of national interest. If you go to India, just as I said earlier, India, they are surviving because they are every country of the world. America, is it Russia? They have what they call national value. America, the national value of America today, of US, is open market economy and democracy. If you go to Russia, their national value is socialism. And that is what has made them to wage war against Ukraine. Protecting their national value. Nigeria, we don't even have one thing that we point at as our national value. If you go to India, the national value of India is human capital development.
Yes, but India too has been rated as one of the poorest countries in the world at the time.
They are one of the best countries today practicing democracy. India. Human capital development.
That reflected in their economy.
It has. It has. Tremendously. It has. America, they are even, almost all the countries of the world that they are learning democracy from India. And this parliamentary system that they are trying to bring on board again in Nigeria, that legislator has equally read something about India and want to pick from India. If India is surviving with parliamentary, why can't we survive in Nigeria? That is what is going on. But have they checked themselves? Whether it's just the name parliamentary that you are mentioning or the human being that will implement this policy.
And by the way we are going in our democracy and how evolving it is, you know, if nothing happens, if things remain this way, do you think this government will have a run for their money in 2027?
Would that come again?
They are going to have a run for their money. Is there going to be competition, you know, if they don't do well?
See, 1999, Nigerians were too blind to democracy. 2003, there was a level of awareness. 2007, there was another level of awareness. 2011, the same thing. 2015, the level of awareness changed. And that was when government was overthrown. The government of President Jonathan was overthrown by the masses because the awareness was so high.
No, it wasn't a coup.
It was not a coup. It was a civilian
because
coup.
you used the word overthrown.
No, the overthrown was that a sitting government in Africa, since I grew up, I have not seen
when he considered
where a sitting government was voted out by civilians and government changed, not through military coup. It was in 2015 that we all saw it. We never knew it would be, but it came to be. Then just 2023, when President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board now, you see how too tight the election was. That is to tell you how the awareness, political awareness in Nigeria has grown. The election was so tight between the Labour Party candidate, APC candidate, and PDP candidate. You understand? At the end, you see how it went. Labour parties won in 11 states, plus FCT, making it 12. PDP candidate, Atiku Abubakar, he won in 12 states. APC candidate, the current president of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, won in 12 states. Have you seen such before? 12 states. It was only NNPP that won in Kano.
All right.
So the level of awareness is so high that if they are not sitting well to doing well for the masses, 2027, majority of them will be booted out.
All right. We must thank you, Aurelio Richard, a political analyst, for coming to the program. As the debate between whether the presidential, we are okay with the presidential system or parliamentary system, continues to, to take place. We hope that our system, we're going to get it right and get our governance right and see our economy turn around. Thank you very much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
All right, viewers, that's the size of Perspective this week. And of course, we are looking at whether the parliamentary system is able to solve the challenges that we have in other countries. It is on that note that we're going to draw the curtain until we come your way again next week with another topic. I say thank you for joining us.